and welcome to another episode of Mighty Misfit Menagerie Plays. And it's been a little while since you've seen me in this square of our little holiday square setup here. Holiday Hollywood, hello. But that's because we're starting a new campaign and we're very excited.
Wait, we are?
We are.
I mean, actually, this month we're starting 2 new campaigns.
Yeah, Jake, you were supposed to have your character completely done with your 6 pages of backstory for me. It was a 2,500 word minimum.
We were limited to 6
We all did ours.
Yeah. Okay, you have to the end of class.
Mine's verbal, so be ready.
Don't you don't you test my
We
improv skills.
are going to be playing the Critical Role campaign Netherdeep Call of the Netherdeep. It's been a little bit since I've had to be here and speaking complete sentences that were not prompted.
How many apostrophes were in that?
About 6,
Okay.
which is a reference to a joke made on camera. And with that, I would like to hop in, just kind of a little bit of a structure of what we're going to be doing tonight. I'm just going to talk through a little bit about some of the changes that you might see in this campaign from previous campaigns. They are very minor, as well as any little pieces about the world, kind of where we're starting, what the scope of this campaign is as far as the world as a whole. And then we can kind of dive into what I think would be the next best step on my part. Is a little bit of just a brief introduction of where you're at with your character right now. We'll just do this one at a time. We won't form any connections quite yet, just so that all of those are out on the table in the open for everybody to have. And then I will be available for questions throughout. If you can't see me, an anomaly is occurred.
Of course, because everyone has their characters completely done.
Yeah.
Nobody's working on them right now, right?
Yeah.
What we kind of set up coming into this with everybody was they were not allowed to speak with each other about their characters prior to this. We've done several campaigns together, so this was my way of kind of putting up a wall so that everybody comes with something brand new and different, and that nobody is collaborating ahead of time, because I want them to collaborate at the table to give them a little more of a storytelling challenge there. With that, I think that's one of the first changes that we've made from previous campaigns. The other changes are not going to be rules-based. I'm going to maintain all of our house rules as far as how crits work. We will possibly add a fumble mechanic down the line, and that's going to be just so that it's codified. We always do it so that if it's a 1, it's a critical failure. That's how we treat it. But this will just maybe codify that a little bit more mechanically. And those will be provided to y'all before they're put into use, so we're all on the same page on them.
And if anyone's brand new, our house rules that we maintain are...
Yes, thank you. First one around crits. This one was a rule that was did you initiate? Yeah, Rio initiated, and that we've seen also on some of the folks from Wizards Mentions doing in their own campaigns. But just
I don't remember where I got it from, actually.
it basically just to make crits feel a little more special overall. They are max whatever the dice would have been plus your roll, so that way you can't really get 2d12 that comes out as a 2 for your crit. You get something good no matter what, for sure. So that's the biggest home rule that we do. We also use flanking rules, so there is advantage granted for folks that are on the opposite side of creatures, as well as for pack tactics for any summoned creatures. I don't know if we're going to have any summoned creatures yet, but based on past experience, I bet you we will. Beyond that, I think those are the 2 biggest discrepancies.
We have a lot of little baby ones, but yeah.
And just for my brain, we do if it meets, it beats, right?
If it meets, it beats, yeah.
That's the book, though.
I know. I'm just making sure, because in all of my other home games, everybody has different things.
Fair.
So, but rules is written is if it meets, it beats.
If it meets, it
Any
beats.
games where you have to confirm, then you need to leave those games.
Yeah.
No, we don't
They're the worst,
confirm,
right?
but I have one where I'm like, oh, rolled a 15. The AC is 15. Both of you roll a d20. Whoever rolls higher.
Yeah.
Oh, is that confirmed?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
bullshit.
I have some text messages to send.
Excellent. So with that, the only other changes that I'm kind of going to make are during combat, turns will be treated shorter. So if it feels like there is something that's taking a little bit longer than I think is a reasonable amount of time to necessarily think about it in the moment, I will force a decision. And if you do not have a decision to force, I will make one for something. Either I won't make you lose your turn or something, but you might have to make a decision at the next person or something to keep those things moving.
Yeah.
That's kind of the biggest one. And then we'll also be doing a little bit more with we'll work out exactly mechanically how this works, whether it's people leaving the room or whether it's just us trying to be really cognizant of it. But folks that are not in a scene don't know what happened in that scene unless they're told. And if you are not directly in a scene, you cannot comment as a player or a character. So that those moments are just left to whoever's present. And I kind of think that we as a group, and I don't mean this in like a negative way, we have like our patterns of how all of our characters fit together. And one of my goals with this campaign is to give opportunities for us to break those patterns, for people to interact that don't necessarily regularly interact, and to kind of maybe find some more creativity in those moments. So that's pretty much it for me as far as changes during the actual gameplay portion. Are there any questions or any house rules that folks would like to bring up for maybe addition in this campaign?
Did you hear that, Hank? You have to be nice to me this time.
That is not what I heard.
Oh, what I heard either.
What I heard is less side talk from Jake and Rio, because
I mean, Coulter loves his good pun in a bad moment too.
It is something that I will be working on. It is something that I will be working on.
to anyone watching at home that might be new to the channel, we are all great friends, and with that comes just
Giving each other
A
share all
lot
the
of
time.
giving each other
You
shit.
just all need to try and be more like Helena, because Helena is the best.
It's
at
perfect.
it.
She's super
so good
focused.
at
Thank you. She's like, I'm not there.
Try. I want to pretend to be my person.
Like if Helena's not in a scene, you forget Helena's at the table. She's great.
I think that I think what for me that just means like giving moments a chance to breathe. I know sometimes, especially it sounds like we're all going to be a little bit edgier in this campaign. So like
It is an edgier campaign.
trying to let each other have serious moments and to sit in some discomfort. We can do it.
That's what
It's a
I stopped
whole challenge.
That's what I stopped myself from saying earlier. I was like, we all rolled problematic people. Right? I don't want to be the only problematic person.
I will say, as far as our campaigns go, if you've watched campaigns in the past and for people at the table, from what I've read, it does skew more towards Arm of the Frost Maiden than towards Wild Beyond the Witchlight. It is not as bleak as Arm of the Frost Maiden, but it's not whimsical either. Just kind of a little bit of where we're going to be starting all of this. This is going to span multiple continents. You're going to see a lot of the world of Exandria, which I think is a really nice thing they put into this book. And as a part of that, you'll be experiencing several different environments. You're going to be going over the barren wastes of Xhorhas through all of the farmlands and forests of the Dwendalian Empire. You're going to be crossing the oceans into the continent of Marquette, getting to see the lush jungles and barren deserts, as well as a lot of the things that are over and under those places. So, with that, you will all be starting in the Wastes of Xhorhas, in the town of Chagao, which is on the northern coast of Wildmel, off of the Emerald Gulch. It's a community that is widely orcs and goblins. I would say are the two primary races there. It is a part of the overall nation within Xhorhas, which I had so well memorized before we started this, and then I just lost it because I said Grindalian Empire, and now that is stuck in my head.
The Kryn Dynasty. No.
Kryn Dynasty, thank you. All under the Kryn Dynasty. In this world, you'll see a lot of races act kind of differently than you necessarily expect from Faerun. The Kryn Dynasty is run by surface-walking drow that are not considered automatically evil and that do not have a direct connection with Lolth aside from having escaped her. So there's things like that in this world that you'll see a little bit different. This side of it, especially in the Kryn Dynasty, is going to be a lot of folks from monstrous backgrounds. So you have your orcs, tabaxi, bugbears that are all kind of a part of this society, living and treated normally, not treated strange for what they are, like you see in a lot of Faerun pieces. Okay, so that's kind of the general where you're going to start in the wastelands, in this town that is established on a coast, very diverse as far as monstrous creatures. With that, I'd like to go around the table and get just a brief introduction of where you're at with your characters. If you just have, I'm looking at a Dragonborn, that's okay. We're just getting where your characters are at right this moment.
What was the dynasty thing real quick?
Kryn Dynasty.
K?
Kryn.
They have a pretty cool lantern-based religion.
They are run by Queen Laylas Kryn the Bright, and And their deity that they escaped from Moth to celebrate is a deity of light. All right, so with that, Rio, would you like to start with a little introduction on?
Sure. Sean is a very secretive character, so I don't know how much I should give. But Sean Sakine, he's kind of like a world traveler. Him and his horse Belle, who's this like big old mare, and his cart. They just kind of travel around. He keeps himself very wrapped up for reasons. Every time you ask him, he'll give you a different reason. But so like he keeps himself wrapped head to toe. He has the look of like a humanoid, so a half-elf human somewhere in there. That's really, I mean.
And did you say his point of origin?
He does. I mean,
Here, he does not disclose that.
Maricat.
Okay,
He
American.
speaks Marquesian, so we'll say Maricat. Again, it's one of those things where I think every time you asked him, he would probably say like, "Oh yeah, no, I grew up in the Zamnia," or you know what I mean, like the Qin Dynasty. Oh no, I grew up here.
Will you tell us your class or?
He is a cleric. When you opened up the Taldori Reborn book, I really like the concept of a blood cleric, but he's not tied to a deity. He's not religious. And most of his spells I'm going to flavor as kind of like more blood magic kind of thing. So while he is a cleric, he would never call himself that.
And that is something that we can kind of do across the board as well, where like in Rio's case, this class fits really well thematically and visually for the character, but the god portion of it doesn't. So we can make kind of adjustments like that to the flavor of them to make them fit what your backstory is best.
Mm-hmm. So mechanically, he's a cleric, but like in game, he would never call himself that.
So you would just say that like he's a magic.
He could, if you asked him what his job was, he would say, I'm a wanderer.
What's that magic that you're using?
So he just does cleric spells, but I'm going to flavor them as.
I know, but just if
it's
someone
called
was saying
chemocraft.
Hemocraft.
In
Okay.
universe,
that's
it's
blood,
called
the blood
chemocraft.
part?
Yeah,
Okay.
blood magic is
Cool.
essentially what it would be called.
You using your lizard folk voice?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about it.
Undecided yet?
I was thinking about like a southern accent, and then I was like, I don't know, and so.
Oh, if anybody picks accents, that is now the accent of that region. We might have to stick with that.
Oh my gosh.
So
I also considered doing a creepy Dave voice, but I think Coulter vetoed it.
it's a short burst kind of deal over the course of 50 sessions. I don't know.
And again, so I might just do kind of like a crazy guy voice.
Cool.
Jake?
Dax is an Aarakocra. He has darker feathers and keeps himself pretty wrapped up. He prefers to travel via his 2 feet. Yeah.
Versus what?
Versus
Oh, they're a bird.
You can fly.
Oh,
That was a great moment.
Does it? But can you fly?
Aarakocras can fly.
Okay.
Yeah, he has
and
got-
they
got
come
wings
being
and
able to fly. Okay. Who prefers to walk?
Yep. I haven't really done my homework or fleshed out where he's from. But yeah. Darker
And there
feathers, wears lots of robes.
Aarakocra Kingdom, isn't there?
There is. I was going to say, sorry for all the interjections for me in this part of it. But that is another thing that we talked about a little bit as a group ahead of time that I forgot to mention is that the characters at the end of tonight will be as formed as they are. They can still continue to change after that. If you have more discoveries that you make when you're looking into stuff, or if you have questions for me about regions and how they're going to be treated in this campaign, feel free and we can make adjustments as we get towards actually starting the game.
And yeah, I'm not sure
yes.
what else I
What's
can.
your have you
divulge.
decided on a? Have you decided on a class? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing a blood hunter, but he's gonna present as a ranger. He's gonna deny.
Are blood hunters like popular as like some sort of weirdos or okay?
Like The Witcher-ish.
So they have that stigma on them in that way?
No, like the way their mechanics work. Like they use their own energy.
Oh, I just mean like he's presenting as a ranger because you don't want people to know you're a
Yeah.
blood hunter? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'd say like the how much people even know what blood hunters are is pretty
sure, yeah.
a big range.
Okay.
But if you know what they are, it's probably because either you've helped them or you've run across them. So that could go, you can kind of go 50-50 in that.
Cool.
It's kind of like that concept of like warlocks in vanilla D&D. It's like most people probably just think you're a wizard. Unless they know magic and they're like, ooh, that was not a normal cantrip.
And especially there's a lot of like blood hunters tend to organize into groups, things like that. So like if you run into a blood hunter, there's probably more around, or if you like it's unlike the other classes where they're a little bit more broadly spread. Like wizards could come from kind of any school of magic, bards could come from any court, whatever. Blood hunters are a little bit more organized as a bunch.
And they're specific to the setting too.
Oh, cool.
And he takes jobs and makes his living as like scouting, reconnaissance, track this person, track that person. And so I feel like his reputation is probably like, oh, I know the best ranger. I've got a scout for you.
I like it.
Excellent. Hank?
I'm still working on what exactly. But I know that I'm playing a human wizard.
Do you have anything you want to run by us, or do you want us to try to help inspire you in some way? Is there a way we can do
I
that?
don't know yet.
Okay, so how realistic was that inspo picture that you sent to the group chat? Because, oh my gosh, gender bending Esmeralda
Oh,
was amazing.
Can you still do that?
Human wizard, absolutely.
or oh yeah.
Probably not.
I am sad now.
If ever we play a game where we use your playtest things again, totally doing that.
Dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't know. I might
Also, the concept of like a stripper wizard is kind of not that Esmeralda was a stripper, but like just the concept of a stripper wizard is pretty funny.
And dancing lights, here we go.
What do you do to pay to wizard school? I dance.
How I got through.
Oh, like your magic is like movement based?
Sure.
Blade singer, not like pole singer.
Nothing wrong. Have you seen their thighs? Oh my god, their
They-
legs, core strength.
That's gonna be a beefy wizard.
Yeah.
They get to class and like they accidentally like a thong flies out of their wizard robe. Just like
Don't worry about it.
Never know what's in the bag of holding.
There's a reason I carry a 10-foot pole around.
Polar mask.
a 10-foot unmovable rod.
It's in case you run into the
So
Grinch,
funny.
right?
Right.
If we ever do a silly campaign, I'm 100% stealing the 10-foot immovable rod. It's just like, who wants to see me dance?
Yeah, I have some things that I think I might throw in, but it kind of depends on other people.
Do you think you want to be from this area, or do you want to be?
I'm tossing around the idea, if it's okay with culture, that I might not even be from here. Like
From like
planet.
Alexandria.
From
Yeah.
Eberron again?
Not ever. Actually, they were in this time.
Oh, cool.
But I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Did you fall into a wormhole? Happens to all of us.
And then you need a reason for being in this area, and maybe that would tie into your job.
Yeah.
Whatever you might decide on that.
I mean, little known fact, but Margaret's from Narnia.
That's true.
Nanya.
I come to the wardrobe. Everything
Oh,
I wanna
okay, all right.
get through. Yeah.
Time passes really weird.
It does.
Margaret's like 600 years old.
I look great.
Yeah, I don't know. Still toying with stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot decided either. I think I have decided I'm going to be a dragonborn. And I think I'd like to do probably sorcerer or rogue. I'm not sure which, because I'm like, I think sorcerer kind of best fits what I have their characters being, but I don't know that Helena wants to do spells so much.
That's fair.
But yeah, probably end up being a sorcerer. But I don't want to do wild magic, even though I really like that dynamic again. I don't think that's what.
There's the Dragon Blood Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Oh, there's specifically a dragon blood sorcerer. Okay, that might work well.
And we can talk about all the options, but there's specifically the Dragonblood one. There's also
Runecraft.
the one that's more specific to like Exandria as a whole. That was part of that whole thing, which is the Runecraft one.
It's either Runecraft or Rune Carver. I can't
It's Rune
remember.
Carver, I believe.
Oh, neat. That sounds
It's really
fun.
cool.
And the picture in the book is actually of a Dragonborn. So.
Oh,
Neat. I swear, I did not look at the book.
No. That's not what I was
I
accusing of.
never look at the
It's
book.
Rune Child, sorry.
Rune Child.
Yeah.
Rune child, that's cool.
There's been a lot of rune-based subclasses in the last year.
if you think of like sorcerers, it's like where's their magic funds, like Dragon Bloodline or like like Rune Child, like you got your power from, you were created by the rune.
Okay. I
And
think.
the Clockwork Soul one's really cool too.
Okay, I'll take a look at
If you're into
those ones.
boring
I'm gonna roll for metallic. But I'm gonna roll for which one, and then I think I'm gonna try and roll for some of the choices I have to make. But just to randomize them a little bit, I think they're gonna be female. But I think pretty androgynous looking, dress androgynously, and kind of be a little bit neutrally. I think I'd like them to be from like what's like a nearby town, but like a small town where not a whole lot goes on. Like I left there because I wanted to,
Village B.
see what I could
Yeah.
accomplish. Village
From Jorha, some
small
place in Jorha.
village.
Yes, but still thinking in this region kind of specifically.
Yeah, I think I'd like to play with whatever this being from this area looks like.
Okay, great.
Oh, Sona? No.
So-
Sona's big.
If you just kind of for your knowledge, and we'll get more into things as we go. But the map is pretty accurate as far as like what you would expect in like locale. So if you're further south, you're getting more of the forests and plains. You get some more water stuff.
Is this a
In this area,
red
you get more
forest?
Yes,
Those are all red trees?
they are.
So sick.
Another thing to. Oh, and we'll go to Margarita first.
No, that's
And I'm
fine.
sorry, I'm like jumping all around the place because
No,
I'm
no,
stuck
you
in my
wanna-
head in the map.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the map or where we're headed, that's fine. Because it kind of plays into what my origins are. So actually, I wouldn't mind hearing a little more.
Oh yeah, so with the Vermaloc Wildwood, there's a lot of things in this world that are tied to the heavens. This is a world that has not had direct interactions with gods for a long time. Unlike Faerun, where you might have a little bit more of a direct contact with the god, this one there's very much like an iron curtain between mortals and gods. There's a lot of superstition and whatnot around that. There are also 2 moons in the sky versus just one.
Does that mean atheism is more common?
Well, so I think that generally people still assume the gods exist
So
because they still get
agnosticism.
interaction with the gods. It's just not direct interaction. Like the god's not going to walk up and shake your hand like in Faerun, but
I was
they're
just
still
wondering
doing
if they
stuff.
addressed that in the book or whatever.
They did not, at least not to my knowledge at this point. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But there's a lot of things. So the whole point of the moon part of it was there's a lot of things in this world that are tied to the moons. So the 2 different moons that you have are
The hairy one and the shaved one.
Light one and the dark one.
it's I believe Katha and Ruidus. Katha. I just want to make sure I'm actually looking at the right spelling for that because I'm not really sure I am. Yes, Katha.
So we have more sailors.
You do.
One more.
So many more sailors. It's an exponential change. Katha behaves fairly normally, and is both of the moons are considered to be under the kind of guidance of the goddess of the moons. But Katha acts pretty normally compared to like our moon. It is a pale, bright light in the sky. It rotates the planet every month and has predictable, regular cycles. Ruidus is not exactly the same. It is, as the book describes it, vermilion. For lay people, red, because for whatever reason in my head, vermilion is always still a gold, or I don't know why that's the case. I blame Pokemon. But anyways, vermilion, red moon in the sky. It rotates the planet every 6 months instead of every 1. And its patterns are fairly unpredictable. It doesn't have phases. It can kind of just like go away and then come back. So there's a lot of things that have like a red significance in the book and in the world. And a lot of times, whether it's accurate or not, the folks that live there will tie red things to Ruidus. So I'm not entirely sure if the Vermaloc Wildwood is specifically tied to Ruidus, but my guess would be the color is going to tie it to Ruidus.
Is there any like bad luck or
There is.
careful on a red moon?
Well, and my
this
brain
is-
goes to Zelda. I'm like, oh,
The
red
blood
moon.
moon
The
rises.
blood moon. I'm like, oh.
So vermilion is really red?
Yeah,
It's not yellow?
No.
yeah, I thought it was. It confused the hell out of me. There are a couple things just around the moon that are superstitions. One is that if you're born on a night when Ruidus is full, you are destined to bring suffering to others and to experience a great tragedy in your life.
Wow.
Malice, those who study Ruidus, are said to become obsessed with its secrets and are compelled to cause misfortune and woe.
And that's the red moon Ruidus?
Yes. And then misadventure, plans made or set in motion when Ruidus is full are doomed to failure, often due to betrayal or miscommunication. So it's old wives' tale kind of deal, but
So this world just straight up has an evil moon.
it has an evil moon.
It's just like, can you imagine just being like, oh, there's the good moon and the evil moon. Stephen
moon.
King wrote this universe. Why is the moon evil? It just is. But look at what color it is. It'd be
It's
so
so
great if they did a campaign where you found out that Ruidus was the good moon.
Like, yes. But so that's a little bit of just like what red can mean in this world. A lot of times it gets tied back.
Okay. That might actually help with figuring out some of my backstory. So I'm still fleshing out the name of my character. What? I don't know.
I was laughing at I was fucking with him.
Got it.
What was
So I am playing Githyanki Fighter.
Yankee.
Githyanki
I'll
Fighter.
just I don't know.
Margot just threw down, I'm gonna be a dick on the table.
Yankee.
Yeah.
Githyanki, Githyanki.
I love it.
I am a Githyanki fighter. And I am wanting to dual wield axes. So this is gonna be fun. It's a little more edgy than
Literally.
yeah. A lot more edgy.
Twice as edgy.
I've been learning some Githyanki words from Baldur's Gate 3. So you just call us istic a lot. I don't know what it means, but you call us that a lot.
It's unclean.
I don't know.
I have to. I've been doing actually a lot of reading, and then in that, I was looking at D&D Beyond, and I'm like, oh, that's a really cool looking race. And then I start doing research outside of it, and I'm like, oh, Baldur's Gate. That's not where I picked it from.
No, it's perfectly fine. I just know my Githyanki best friend in the game calls me istic a lot, so I hope it's not unclean.
Yeah, it's Githyanki.
Best
Oh,
friend.
cool.
There's another
Yeah,
one of
they're
the
kind
No
of.
One Tornado
So you're gonna
games.
be from
I
nearby?
think it's like centered around Gith, and they talk.
So the Githyanki they live mostly in the astral plane,
Oh.
in the astral sea, and while they live there, they don't age.
Neat.
And so they have to come to the prime material plane to breed and, actually grow and age. And so they lay eggs, they're hatched. That's one thing that I learned. And so that's what I'm looking at is like, okay, she was probably hatched originally because I've forgotten that we were actually basing it in Jorhas, but I think it would make sense that her clutch came from, or there's a creche somewhere in Jorhas where she was originally hatched. So that's where I am right now. That's why I was asking a little bit about. I'm like, okay, where can I be from? Does
I
it
wonder if
matter?
there's even
You
a
just-
canonical creche in Alexandria.
There
Probably.
is not.
Really?
There is not. Yeah, that was one of the things Margaret and I texted a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so I looked it up, and what it says about the Gith is they exist. That's it.
I mean, the astral plane technically connects all universes,
Mm-hmm.
so
And so I was thinking if it works okay for you, we'd keep like their general multiverse lore intact,
Yeah.
and then whatever they mean on Exandria is totally up to you, and like how
Okay.
much you have a connection to that lore is totally up to you.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I'm good with that. So yeah, I'm just I'm trying to I think I've got a base idea of what she looks like, what she's I don't know quite the personality yet, but yeah, I'm excited to see what she grows into, and learning a lot more about like Githyanki traits. I'm like, ooh, oh,
How would
Okay.
I inform you?
yeah, for sure.
And so the astral plane, you are not living there because you wanted to age, or are you thinking you're
So
wanting
that's-
adventure?
That's kind of the issue. So part of my backstory is that
Is the astral plane just like this plane, but astral? Like, so it's going to be a different culture altogether, you think? Or
Well-
do you want to be used to this culture?
Or is this all stuff that should come out as we get to know your character as well?
Okay, I'm asking too many questions.
Well, no, I'm not
Maybe.
saying that. I'm just saying that's also an option for you if you wish to take it.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. So, in general, for the Githyanki, they're, from what I understand, and anybody who knows more, correct me if I'm wrong, but they originally were enslaved by mind flayers, and so they broke free from that and live in the astral plane and kind of guard the astral plane from the Illithid, and so they are very, from what I've read, not very like family oriented. The Githyanki specifically are more warrior-like, and
Who are they
you
from?
know,
In the astral plane. I just don't get it.
but they're also conquering races too.
Yeah.
So
They
they
enslaved themselves.
yeah, they feel that all of the other planes are,
Lesser.
well, yeah, and areas for conquer, and well, it's meant for us to.
And so there's two races.
Yes, the
Githyanki,
Githyanki and
Githzerai.
the Githzerai. Thank you.
So there was a god, or there was a Gith was a hero who like helped break them out from the Illithids.
Yes,
And then two groups broke out
factions.
from
Yeah,
them. Is with like the Githyanki are more peace, or they're
no, the
So-
Githzerai.
So
oh, you're doing that one.
Sure. So, okay. So, kind of just for the basics, and you've done the reading, so hit me up if there's anything
Sure.
I'm missing. After the Gith had escaped from Mind Flayers, there's a little bit of like a lore to the past that like nobody really knows exactly where Gith came from. They were just the slaves of the Mind Flayers for as long as anybody can think. It's possible there's like rumors in the lore that maybe they were actually even humans at one point, that the Mind Flayers just bred into being Gith over years and years, generations of selective breeding. But they eventually did escape, and in this like split between the two, one of the groups basically, the initial one that split them from the Mind Flayers from the start, went and made a deal with the Nine Hells in order to do that with Tiamat, who helped them actually escape. So the Githyanki also do have dragons canonically.
Red dragon specifically.
That they can use, but they're incredibly militaristic. Everything is based on rank. You do not have familial connections or obligations, and you may never even meet your family. Especially like with the egg kind of thing, like they just get hatched together, and then there's a group of 10. They have one leader. 10 leaders have another leader. 10 leaders have another leader, and they're always trying to get up to the next level of leadership.
And currently in Faerun, this isn't necessarily true in Alexandria, they're led by a lich who passes herself off as a goddess.
Block it. The Lich
Block
Queen.
it.
Block it.
And she's like Blocketh 157 or something, because she's the 157th incarnation of. Now the other side of it, the Githzerai, went on a different route of all of this, and it's kind of based on like which lieutenant of Gith do you think was the correct one? Kind of how they split. The Githzerai sequestered themselves all into limbo to learn to control chaos. So they kind of function as monks, and they have basically been working on fostering all this psychic ability over time that all the Gith have to control that kind of environment and to kind of create the world from their minds. They do still occasionally pillage or fight or whatever, but they're much more peaceful than the Githyanki. Both of them hate each other,
Yes.
but they are both still trying to eliminate Illithid from existence.
Interesting.
So the Githyanki are kind of like Nazis, and the Githzerai are kind of like pirates, but fun pirates.
It's the way that I understood it, and Margarita's still like, while we're talking about what exists in the lore, I'm sorry that I'm being so repetitive and
No, no, no.
we can change any of it,
Yeah.
no problem whatsoever. But so in that existing lore, the Githyanki, if they go to a world, they're going to take the world. The Githzerai might just come and eliminate the Illithid and leave. Like,
Well, and the life cycle of a Githyanki, I was researching this recently, is like you grow up with your creche until you're like adolescent,
Right.
and then you can't come back to like the greater society until you kill the mind flayer.
Right. Yeah, that's the rite of passage into
Yeah.
adulthood is bringing back the head of a mind flayer.
And then you get to live in the astral plane and like move up in the ranks, but you're not even considered like a real person until you've done that at least once.
And I guess one question that I have for you as a DM that you don't have to answer right now, but I'm just curious about generally is, has she done it? And is she intending to?
I am 33 years old.
Are you a virgin? Or have you killed mine? Oh, a lady does not tell.
Something that you will learn pretty quickly about her though is that she has previously run with mercenary groups.
Me too.
So little ASMR for you.
Yeah. Mercenaries are great. They
Yeah.
don't ask a lot of questions. They got
Right.
great beer.
And considering that Jorhas is in a kind of bit of a constant state of war, generally speaking, mercenaries would be widespread and helpful.
So let that inform your idea of if I've or have not killed a mind flayer.
I would never presume to know who's killed who. That's
Fair.
a very personal question. I feel like everyone should be allowed to kill who they feel like they need to kill, and
Gotcha.
you know that's their business. You know,
Thank you.
like I really disagree with the law and privacy. You know what I mean? Like, did you kill that man? How is that any of your business,
Yeah.
Judge?
That was between me and him.
Yeah. Your Honor, I hid that body, so how could you ask me such a question?
So, getting everybody's kind of baselines on the table, you now kind of have the general of who's going to be showing up on day one. Just a little bit, I think we're going to take a break shortly, but before that, I wanted to give you some things to think about on the break itself. So just kind of where you're getting started in Jorhas, kind of similar to the Gith Yankee in that they are a society that is heavily built around the military. However, unlike the Githyanki, it's not all that matters. They look at merit as a whole. They're a majorly, they as a society, they are incredibly meritocratic. They are a meritocracy. There we go. We're just gonna say that. Meritocratic. I like it. So I'll read you just the blurb here because I think it's helpful in general. But accumulating knowledge and achieving spiritual enlightenment are the virtues of the Kryn dynasty, whose society is built around the tenets of Luxon. Artists, entertainers, artisans, and all people who create are well valued in Kryn society. Yet, in this age of war, people whose skills allow them to destroy are paradoxically prized just as highly. To the Kryn, a person's background is less important than the experiences they've accumulated, particularly for those who have begun walking the sacred path known as consecution. Nonetheless, even the most enlightened society can't help but look down upon its lowest citizens and sneer at its haughty elite. Once all beings are beloved by Luxon, perhaps these ills of society will be purged once and for all. So there is a little bit of a religious aspect as far as what the Empire values. There is also going to be higher concentrations of different races in different areas. The Kryn, the overarching leadership, the power is going to be with Drow. So even though it's a very meritocratic society, even though there's goods and evils that have been done, when you're looking at a place like Chagao, it's going to be heavily favored on the orcs and goblins that are serving the Empire, with some Drow around that are going to be the political leadership or the military leadership. So there's a tension there just because of that split, but it's not something that has reached a boiling point. It's not something that has created like a large amount of persecution in the region. This is still kind of widely known for being accepting of all species.
So it's like Tatooine, where there's like a lot of similar races and then just a few huts in charge of everything.
Kind of. But I would say they're not quite the huts, but
If it's like Tatooine, does that mean the same as coarse and rough too?
it is. The sand is incredibly coarse and rough. It gets everywhere. I think the only other little piece about this piece of the world that I think is interesting, that is like widely known, is that long time ago, there was a war called the Calamity between the gods and the Betrayer gods. in which the gods did win and seal away themselves and the betrayer gods. And that's why there's not contact directly between gods and mortals, is because the gods had to create a seal to stop the betrayer gods from corrupting the entirety of the world. The base for the betrayer gods way back in those days was Xhorhas. So that's where a lot of like this idea of these monstrous races, as well as like just monstrosities that are wandering around, comes from. The actual temple of the betrayer gods is located in Xhorhas in Bazoxan, Bazzooxan.
Bazozan.
And it is a Bazoxan? Bazozan. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was like, I know that Margarita has followed Critical Role more than I have, and I'm going to lean on you for those
Sorry.
pronunciations. No, I need it.
Bazozan.
Bazozan, because it's funny in like other books, like you don't have as much of an issue because like people are just reading it.
Right.
But this one, they'll have heard the name spoken. I'm like, shit. So anyways, Bazozan, the Kryn dynasty is fighting a constant war in Bazozan to keep the demons in their pit. Because they have had, in like the last 50 years, started having demons come out of the shrine to the betrayer gods and like cause chaos. So now they've set up fortifications to try and stop them from expanding any further.
And this is why you should never dig.
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to dig too deep and just hit
Right.
demons.
Just punch the ground and go straight
Oh
down.
shit! Hit demons.
Hello and welcome back. I was going to say to another episode, but instead it's the same episode.
Yay!
What?
See,
And Coulter's still there.
I am.
I'm excited about it.
I'm sitting comfy in my chair with my legs crossed, which you can't see because it's like
Aw.
from here on. But yeah,
I can verify.
Applesauce.
He's got like the perfect like talk show host pose.
I'm going for.
You need you need an oversized coffee cup with nothing in it.
Jingle, you could tell this stuff. So before we left for the break, kind of just to let you guys know roughly where we're going to start out. One of the inciting incident of the campaign, the kind of first activity that you're all going to get into, which you would all just know about as characters generally because it's an annual thing, is in the town of Jagao in the Kryn dynasty in Xhorhas. There is a festival of merit every year, where basically folks have an opportunity to win prizes and renown within their community. There's a lot of smaller tasks that go along with it. Think along the lines of carnival games, so it's made for kids all the way up, as well as like combat competitions and things that are a little more serious for the established adults to take place in.
They don't have a child league for the combat.
They don't.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean they have like an 11 and up, but
That's adult.
I just love watching children fight. Not to the death.
Yeah, this isn't a Hunger Game.
Brocalina, finally.
Oh my god. Woo.
Imagine them with their little swords.
But how does your character feel about children fighting?
Oh, he's pro.
He's a pro children fighter? He, can fight
He
a lot
fights
of
children all the time.
And loses.
No, sometimes.
What is his record? 18, 1, and 4?
It depends on what you consider a child. Is it an 80-year-old alpha child?
That's why the draw.
so with that, and this is kind of where we're going to devolve a little more into conversation as far as like losing our structure, because we're getting into what's actually going to happen. But I won't go in order this time, but if anybody has a reason, why would you think that your character would be starting in Jagao? Are they there for the festival? Are they there for something else? Do they live there? If they're there for the festival, are they just there to see it and enjoy it? Are they there to partake in something specific? Are they, that kind of deal? This festival does also bring a lot of folks from the surrounding areas into the city itself. So if you're planning on meeting somebody there, something would be a good opportunity to do that as well.
I think my character probably lives in a surrounding area, but comes to the festival looking for work and just, being amongst the crowds and amongst the people.
Are there good prizes?
There are. It's going to depend on what part you participate in, but the the final.
I just meant like in a lore sense, like would it be worth it to participate? Just be like I'm in it for the prizes kind of thing.
So it's to the point where like it's 100 gold pieces for the final contest per.
It's a lot of hay.
Yeah. You all will start out at 3rd level, so you're all going to start out with your starting
Oh,
equipment.
hell yeah.
With your starting
Did you not
equipment.
know that?
Nice. I didn't know that.
I mean, he told us that
Sorry.
months ago. To be fair to
You
Colton.
think,
Level up.
and if I had heard it, you'd think I'd remember because I'm stoked.
So you will start with your starting equipment as well as some gold that you can have spent just
Right.
because you're an existent person in this world. But that is still a significant amount of money for where you're at right now.
So I can get a Vorpal Rapier?
Yes.
Oh. Coulter said yes, you were here.
You just get one magic
It
item.
only does piercing damage, so it can't use its verbal.
Yeah, it's still a magic sword. I'm cool with
So with that, if anybody has an immediate idea that you'd like to follow, like this is why I think I'd be here, feel free. If you just have questions, feel free.
Belle is a particularly young horse, so Sean's kind of like taken around to see the sights, and like the Festival of Merit is like an interesting one. She's never been to that before, so
And Belle is your horse?
yeah. So like she's never been to one, and you know, like so he's like, well, we should go, like you know, like you should see it, and so
How old are you?
So Sean has a strong relationship with this horse.
some would say unhealthy.
How old are you?
You don't know.
I mean, and you don't want to tell us? Okay.
He's very old.
Okay, that's why I was wondering because it's like funny to me that
He's had multiple horses, so
Okay.
like he's been here before with a different horse,
Gotcha.
and that horse really liked this festival.
Wonderful.
So like I think you're gonna love it. Buck was super into it. Like they serve this particular kind of oat. It killed Buck, but I think
He was really enjoying it in the moment.
he was enjoying it in the moment. So I'm thinking if I like get it without the thing that killed Buck on it, you should be fine. Who knew horses couldn't have that much sugar?
I did.
I think similarly to Dax, I will be there for the opportunity of it all. I think maybe I finally saved up enough money from my nothing town to leave it, and I thought this would be a great place to start my adult life. And yeah, so maybe maybe traveling here took me some time. I kind of like met different groups, and that's how I leveled up like a little bit. And I'm still pretty green and not sure how am I gonna make my money while I try to explore.
Avocado is very poisonous to horses.
Avocado oats? Why would they do this?
Well, why not?
So are you kind of thinking like when you thought of the town, do you think that you timed it specifically to come to the festival, or were you looking at Jigga as like this is a bigger place so I can just get a footing here because it's a larger community?
I'd like to think like I got a flyer about the festival and was like, this is it, this is my sign to start or whatever.
Have you, and so we established that Sean has been there before.
And so I would say like I'm the kind of person who's like been thinking about this my whole life, getting out of this little town, but I actually haven't spent a whole lot of time like understanding what that looks like. So anyway,
Have you been to Jigga
but yeah,
before?
so saying like I don't really know anything about the city. I'm just like, oh, there's a festival. That
Yes,
must
I'm
mean
good.
that's the city I must go to next or first, really. So
Love it. So first time for you, and
Yeah.
okay, perfect. I like it. I like it a lot.
I think I'm far enough away from this place that I wouldn't be a place I'd visited before.
Okay, awesome. And we can kind of figure out, because this is something that I will probably need a little more time to look into, but figure out like what is your nearest town and what is that
Sure.
kind of stuff. We can
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
look into that.
Yeah, I'm totally like I'm totally up for a recommendation because that's not super important to me. It's more important that it's like nothing place that nobody's heard of really, and take it away.
You should name it Nothing Place.
Yeah.
Literally, or Jugen's Hole 2.
Dugan's Holer.
Very holy.
Dugan's second hole.
And then the next campaign we can have Dugan's Holist.
Everybody pronounces it Dugan's Holler for the party.
I did have a question on this map of Isocross, which is not pertinent, but is that a lava river?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I was like, why is that river a different color? And am I just weirdly colorblind and that's like a normal color that
No.
I see? Orange?
For those of you at home, when I printed out some maps for them to kind of give some information on the locations, the colors did not always print great. But yeah, if you're looking at Isocross on a map at home, which it's easy to find if you Google, it's rock and ocean and lava.
And also, in Coulter's defense, that word from earlier has both Z's and an X in it. So
Yeah,
you would think
Bazzoxan.
they would have different pronunciations.
Yeah.
It's fucked up that they have the same sound.
It's Bazzoxan.
Bazzoxan.
Well, and then the X in Jorhas is not a Z sound
Yeah.
either.
No,
So
fantasy names.
where's the apostrophe? I'm missing an apostrophe.
Margarita, I do
Yes.
have a question for you on
Sure.
the pronunciation side of things. In your experiences, have they pronounced these regional names like Wynandir? Wynandir? Because it does not show up in the pronunciation guide. So Wynandir is what it is. That's what
I
I'm curious
believe
about.
that's what I my memory is bringing up is Wynandir.
You're also
then-
supposed to not give horses meat, apparently.
But
They
they
eat
are
it?
opportunistic. Like
They'll eat it?
I've seen a video of a horse like chomping at a little duckling.
Oh,
They're
maybe it was just
opportunistic carnivores.
annoyed at it.
That's true. How dare you walk in front of me? Huh.
So we've got two folks' general reasons for being there. Does anybody else want to hop
Three.
in?
I think
Just you two.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's in here looking for work.
You said looking for work specific. I thought Jake said that in like the last section, though, not in this section.
No, he said
He's
he
the
came
first
to,
person to respond.
yeah, he
Yeah.
said he came to Jigao because he wants to like look for jobs and stuff.
Feel the vibe.
Yeah, look for
Yeah.
jobs.
Yes.
Go to the festival, but just keep an eye out because a festival means more people looking for this, hunting why. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Awesome.
Is there a musical about going to a festival? Because it's like stuck in my head.
Into the woods.
Okay, thank you. Just every time somebody says festival, I hear that line in that musical.
I'm realizing I'm pointing and it's
Yeah,
not on camera,
cut
but
off.
for you on camera, just off camera, there's an Into the Woods poster.
I'm thinking for my character, so she'll have run with some mercenary groups beforehand if they weren't on a job and they were close by. I feel like that was the festival was probably a good chance for them to kind of like show their might and then also get some work. But she's probably coming back to Jigao individually because she's no longer with a group. She doesn't have a group that she's with.
Which is your business.
Yeah. You don't need to know my business. But yeah, so she's coming back, kind of retracing old steps, trying to see. She's got getting out of maybe the mercenary life, seeing what else there is to do, and still, you know, if she can be a cell axe instead of a cell sword.
Slax.
Yeah,
Sounds sexy.
cell slacks.
I don't like relax. I don't know why.
A cell slacks is somebody that works at Macy's.
That's true.
That's what your character does, right?
Exactly.
You're a
Yeah,
clothier?
she's retail.
Yeah, okay.
Retail.
Level
Oh,
3
retail.
clothier.
You want to see their capstone? It's scary.
I think this is just my next place for what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Don't worry, people watching at home. It's not ominous at all.
Right.
And have an
Everybody-
ominous character? No.
Pretty much everybody in this campaign so far has a secret of some kind or another. And it's just funny because some of them have come up more directly and been glossed over, and some of them have come up indirectly and been glossed over. So I'm curious to watch everybody find each other's stuff.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, that might be
I
fun.
kind
Secrets are always fun.
that me and you become friends because of like the blood shit. Like I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like show me the blood stuff again. And you're like, oh, people are usually freaked out by that.
You want to see me slice my hand open?
Yeah,
And you're okay with lightning shooting down as I do it?
sure. Can you show me how to do this? I could just, and he like points at a goblin and just sucks a bunch of blood out of his face. I could just do this.
It's my blood stays in my body.
Oh,
You
I take other people's blood.
right? This
Yes.
hard wall.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'll give you some of his. Open up.
Not creepy Dave.
It's going to be somewhere between Russian and Creepy Dave. I'm sorry. That's where it's going to be. I'm sorry. That is the voice he has, and he's the voice he will keep.
This isn't like a two-shot. This is a book. So
I
you're
understand.
making the commitment.
This is his voice. I cannot help it. Like I said, it's leaning more towards Russian than the
Sean,
Creepy
though?
Dave. But what is his name? It's Sean. Sean Sakin.
Okay.
Sean,
I would say to be entirely fair,
Touche.
He's been doing Dell for a year.
and everybody learns to understand him generally.
I get like every other word.
Context clues are important.
Do you think you would have come through my stupid nothing town?
Is there something interesting there?
Do you talk to? I mean, I wouldn't say so. Maybe there's like some sort of industry,
Like a
keeps
landmark or
us-
like an interesting local food product?
I mean, maybe like a mining community.
No, thank you.
No, I
We
don't.
would have went right through.
I think the point is that it's not interesting, so no, you wouldn't have stopped them. So never mind.
If I saw you on the road, I might offer you a ride
Cool.
because I have a
Maybe
cart.
we met somewhere along the ride in.
Because he likes people, but
Okay.
you know, it's just problematic to travel with people long term. They want to marry you or like have babies.
does Sean? I'm sorry, if you answered this, I think you did. Does Sean live in the city that we're in?
No, Sean doesn't live anywhere.
Okay. So how long have you been in the city that we're in?
He probably just arrived in time for the festival.
Okay.
So like he probably would have been arriving when the game starts. I'm assuming. I don't really know what the time frame is, but
Okay. And so then, Coulter, are we starting as the festival's starting? A little before, a little after?
At the start of the festival.
Okay.
so maybe I've been in town at night. I don't know.
Okay. I was gonna say if you've been in town any longer, if you frequented any of like main tavern, then maybe
They
we've
don't
seen
allow
each other,
horses.
but-
The
If there's a tavern that allows a horse, that's where I'm at.
So the just kind of like generally speaking for the intro, we may play out, and we can kind of talk about this as we're getting close to the actual start. We may play out if you all are traveling together, you entering into the city, and then kind of like jumping to y'all meeting the next day or something like that later. So how each of you all get to the city can also be part of the introduction of the character, or if you prefer to have them waking up already there. But when you were just talking about traveling, it made me think about that. So
I think that works for me.
awesome. Okay, so we know now that our Dragonborn, and there's not quite a name yet, right? We're still working on that. That's okay. Our Dragonborn and our Sean are arriving to the city together. Do the rest of you know if and how you're arriving to the city? I say you came from where you live.
From decently nearby. I imagine it's like he lives in Avra Valley but works downtown,
Got it.
kind of thing. And if you're not in our city, then you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Lives on
Abbott
the
Valley
outskirts,
is like
works downtown.
Mordor to the Shire.
That's a bit far. That's good.
No, that's Phoenix and Tucson.
But I'm imagining Dax knows the city. So probably turning in info for a job, getting coin, and being like, "Oh, that's right, the festival. I should go check that out."
Also, Jake fulfilling the quota of characters who have flight speeds who refuse to use them.
Grand tradition. What? Because I have wings doesn't mean I need to use them.
I didn't even think of that tie back. That is
The number of times in which like we're like, why don't you just fly?
Because I don't fly unless someone asks me to.
It's gonna get lost.
So I was enslaved for my flight, Rio.
And he flew a lot towards the end.
It was character growth.
It was character development.
It was.
I just really want you to say, I just flew in and boy are my arms tired.
I call you Jonathan as a nickname.
Why would you call me Jonathan?
In the D&D movie, the Eric
Oh.
Coker in the beginning is named Jonathan.
Yeah.
Sorry, my husband was just watching that when I was sleeping. So.
You know, and I'm not going to get
See
into
it
D&D
still.
movie.
It's
I'm not going to get into
I
it.
haven't seen it yet.
It's that opening sequence is so great if you know a lot about Eric Coker. Like, it adds so much depth to that scene.
It's so
We need to do a
cute.
watch party.
it's so good.
We do.
We should. We never.
We should stream it. Like, we should do more, like, off-camera stuff.
That was two opposing ideas.
We should
Well,
stream
I
it.
just
No,
like-
we should do off-camera stuff.
We'll stream the movie, like, watch it together, like, and then...
Oh,
I think he means like non-table stuff.
got it.
Yeah, like, when we go
I
to
thought
Comic-Con
you originally were
and stuff.
saying we should stream the movie like we should stream us watching it, and
That's
then you
what I
were like
meant.
we should do off-camera stuff.
No, I meant, like,
Off table.
off-table stuff.
Oh, I was just like, yeah, totally. We can just hang out without the cameras.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's watch a
absolutely.
movie.
I think I meant both things.
Yeah. So that I think brings us to Margarita and Hank.
I feel like my character will have been there for a few days before the festival starts, just kind of getting the lay of the land again, because I feel like she hasn't been to Chigao in a while. And so she's refamiliarizing herself with the area.
Pounding her way through the red light district.
I don't know about that. Maybe not.
So
You don't know my life.
Are
But
you-
yeah, so she's looking forward to at least entering maybe in some of the matches because she's like, you know what, I'm gonna prove myself without this mercenary group. So
I think that I maybe just got there. Like maybe like the day before the festival.
Okay.
I feel like maybe this is like maybe my second or third town that I've visited. So I don't think I've been here
in your
long.
entire life?
Well, this place.
this arc?
Like this like yes. That's like I think I was in Faerun for a long time. Cause I'm like 85.
In human years?
Yeah.
What's your movement?
You're a level 3 wizard and you're 85?
There's a reason for that.
Is your
okay,
movement speed 4?
No, it's 30s. I'm a spry little guy. Or
He's
tall guy.
been smoking 2 packs and eating fatback every day of
Yeah,
his life for the last 60 years.
Chugging like a train.
I think it's funny that Jake is like appalled at your physical condition and I'm appalled at your magical condition. I was like, what? You can cast second level spells and you've had 85 years?
he's just
born
come
again
into it
wizard.
late. He's like, you know what, I just want to be a wizard now.
Yeah, born again wizard.
You're a
Yeah.
wizard, Henry.
He's a bat.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said. I'm sure the weave is very different from Faerun to Taldore.
Most wizards are.
We reset.
Most wizards are a lot further along by then.
Yeah. But we're not shaming.
No,
Everyone
no.
learns at their own speed.
I changed careers later in life.
No
We all
wizard
do it.
left behind. Just go to the wizard. Can you read?
Yes.
So this is kind of more of a question of preference than necessarily like a direct impact. But we do now know that Sean and our Dragonborn have met one another prior to the events of the game. Is there anybody else that would like to have met each other, whether it be years ago in passing, whether it be yesterday you happen to meet each other at a tavern before the events of the story, anything along those lines, or would you like to come to meet each other at the beginning?
I'm up for it. I just don't know how
Yeah, I'm not.
it would have worked.
Right. I think I'm kind of along the same lines. I'm not opposed to it. I think my character's probably a very recognizable person. And so for people to maybe either by reputation of what they believe of, the Githyanki race or, the reputation of the people that I'm associating with, maybe there's some kind of resistance to meeting me I'm not saying necessarily that I'm like this, distant figure that people are afraid to approach, but I can see that at least as being a barrier to meeting somebody.
My thought for you, and tell me if this goes against anything you're thinking, is that based on the like species makeup of the region, there are people that know what you are and like don't like that they just didn't know already.
Sure.
There's going to be a lot of people that assume that you're some kind of half orc.
Fair.
So it's going to be a little bit of a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what are you with? Like,
Did you lose your nose in a fight or something?
Just my ear.
But I think like people that haven't been to a lot of places or haven't really explored or like have like an education that would have put them to have any sort of interest or knowledge in that will probably assume that you're half orc until corrected.
That makes sense.
So
I
without
like
saying
that.
the quiet part out loud, would I know what a Githyanki is?
That is up to you as a character.
Okay.
So like because and it's kind of so like in this obviously we can't say you don't know what an orc is, but with it being kind of undefined in this world and lower population, it's up to the characters whether they've ever interacted with that or whether they also just assume that she's a half orc to start.
Well, because for me, if Sean knows what a Githyanki is, he would either avoid you like the plague, or be like, "What the fuck is a Githyanki doing in town?" You know what I mean? Like it would be either a curiosity or like, "Ooh, we should get out of town." Like turn to the Dragonborn is like, "Ooh, if they're here, we should get out
We
of
need
town."
Well, I like the idea of maybe because of the scarcity of the gift in this world, then trying to play up that idea of like, oh yeah, no, I'm just if I'm trying to blend in, that would be an interesting way to do it. It's like, yeah, no, I'm just a half orc. I know I look like I get implants.
Just get
Oh my-
little false tusks that you wear in town. That would be so cute.
And I always have to talk like you have Dracula teeth.
Yes, it's just how I talk.
The first character to catch her taking out her fangs. But yeah, you were welcome to play with that however you
Okay.
would like.
Okay.
That was just I was like
Interesting.
looking at them and was like, what's the closest thing that we're going to imagine that it
Fair.
would be? And
No, absolutely fair. Especially if people aren't familiar with the race. Your brain automatically is like, oh, that's like what? That's
They also
this
kind of
thing.
look
Yeah,
like fucked up elves. Like an
Well,
elf
yeah, with
that's
the
real
pointy-
fucked up.
Ears, and then they've got like rigid the
and that's
back
why
of their
like
ears. Yeah.
they're a half orc with something.
You
Like,
could say you're an orc elf.
Yeah, my parents are really.
You're half orc, half elf.
Mm.
They're canonical within D&D.
So then, how common are Aarakocra?
for this region, pretty uncommon. So you will stand out to an extent here.
And so then, do with that info as you guys will.
You're not going to be the only one, but I would say like less than 10 in town.
And then for that reason, he doesn't like show his wings or anything. He kind of keeps his
Cloak and
cloak and stuff on.
Longstrider from Lord of the Rings.
I'm not seeing those add-ons for sorcerer. Would I be seeing them like like those two you were talking about?
So you might have to click on critical role content on the first page.
Scroll up all the way.
Yes, because I did turn on.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And then which two options were you looking for specifically? Because you
just-
might need different content.
I just
for
wasn't
different
seeing what those ones that you guys have just mentioned. Is that it under like the sorcerer's origin?
ones. Sorcerer's Origin. Yeah.
Okay, that still is not bringing up. Oh, there's Rune Child. Okay.
I mean, Sean himself is kind of an oddity as well, because he's covered head to toe and he talks to his horse constantly. So
Wait, so like you're completely.
his entire face is covered in wraps. Like if he takes off his gloves, his hands are wrapped. If he takes off his boots, his feet are wrapped. Like you can't see any of his skin.
Interesting.
But most of the time he wears like a big hood, so it's not as obvious.
Okay.
But and he talks to his horse a lot. And if he goes to a bar, he's sneaking beers to his horse.
That's not good for him.
No.
Her, first of
It's not
all.
good for her.
Is Belle old enough to drink?
Yes. In horseshoes.
Someone fact check us.
So it's going to be a drunken horse.
When she's done for the day, she's allowed to have a few drinks before bed. It's not like she's gonna be drunk cart driving or anything.
I would like to change, and I would like to be a werehorse.
Named Belle.
Yeah. With a taste for whiskey.
Okay, so this was gonna be a gag for episode 1. Belle is very obviously a male horse, but Sean
girl.
constantly calls it Belle and she and her, and we'll hear nothing on the topic.
I also just love the idea of you checking into a tavern and then being like, Shaun, we will have your rooms prepared. Like, Sean. Just Sean.
It's just Sean.
Which actually works with any of the spellings of Sean, because you can do Shaun, Sayan.
Shawan.
He's Shaun.
That's I just pulled this, but maybe think because of the pull that up.
Down.
Shaun.
And then, like 3 months ago, when I thought of this character, his last name had like a meaning in a language, but I have no idea what it was. So, like, I did a lot of research on picking his last name. No idea what language, what it means.
That is what happened with my dwarf. Was couldn't find it anywhere afterwards.
Well, and I wrote it on my old character sheet before I changed his class and stuff.
Yeah.
I had written it in my notes, but then I deleted that one. Like, oh, I don't need this one anymore. And then I was like, fuck. So I wrote down the meaning of his name.
So now it is now. So what are the three of y'all thinking on any other kind of like having cross paths possibly? We can also leave it up. I know it was kind of like a little bit of it's a broad question. I'm asking a lot of very broad open-ended questions. So
I mean, if anyone traveling to town, if you were camped out, we could have come across you while you were camping.
Possibly, yeah. I think that would make sense.
But you're in town, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so that would.
Well, and I was gonna have been there for a little bit, so I don't know that you would have come across me beforehand.
So we're
Right before.
here for the festival right now.
yes.
Are there any other towns like near there?
Just a
Not
moment.
according to this map. On this map, the closest named town is Erzin.
Yeah. So and then Erzin is going to be right there, and then Bazozan. Bazozan. I'm gonna keep doing that over and over again. I apologize, and I just want you to know that I appreciate you. Just as far as Helena, if it works for you, I'm kind of thinking that you're probably coming from somewhere in the southern area here, so that you have some more like plains, mountains, forests, just things to give them or having a reason for having had their mining encampment turn into a town.
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I mean mining, or if you think something else, like that's just what came to mind. But
That's totally up
it
to you.
could be like
Oh,
lumber
and the
as
ruins of
well.
Draconia are down there.
He's adding stuff to the map.
No, I'm looking at this map.
Oh, I
He's
just
adding-
populated ruins of Draconia there. Sorry, I think
Well,
it
I'm
was
just
just
saying-
timing.
Draconia is the last. It was all the Dragonborn were killed in Draconia, so that's kind of perfect.
They
be on the
used to
outskirts.
have, and this is like generations ago, but they used to have a flying, not generations ago, sorry, but they used to have a flying city over those mountains, where the long-tailed Dragonborn were in charge. If you see like ruins of Draconia on the map there,
Straight.
that's the flying city was about that before it was destroyed by dragons.
Oh, interesting.
And that was kind of seems semi-recent.
It
history,
was
right?
semi-recent. Yeah, I started to say generations, and I was like, no, I think that was more recent than that. But there was a bit ago, probably like it's in recent enough memory, but probably before you were born. A group of chromatic dragons set the city into ruin.
Conclave.
But,
No,
I
that's
mean to interrupt, but I would definitely want to take Belle to see the ruins of Draconia. So if you're from that region, that's probably where I met you, or along the road from there.
Sure.
And then hopefully you weren't in a hurry because we're definitely going to go see the red trees.
It
On
would
the
be
way.
like it's just as long as we're going to get there by the festival. We're planning on doing.
Because Belle's never seen a red tree before.
Hell, let's go see a red tree then.
What is kind of the main, not the main popular tavern in the city, but like the Outcasts Tavern? Because I feel like that would be probably where Dax frequents.
Okay. Let me see if I can. I'll see if I can find it for you. It
Okay.
might take me a moment.
Or if we need to come up with one.
Eventually.
Eventually.
It'd be a horrible name for a tavern. I'm going to eventually.
What?
I don't know.
Find me eventually.
I saw the greatest bar name ever. It was called The Gym.
Yes,
The
I'm
gym.
going to the gym.
It
Well, and
was-
it's spelled Jim.
No, it was spelled GYM. It was the gym, bar, and a juice. It was like also like a juice bar. So you could say I'm going to the juice bar or the gym.
Yeah,
And then I think it also said like cafe.
I'm going to
So
the
like
gym. They have a
you
juice
could
bar.
literally just use any excuse.
I like it.
This is the town / city of Jakau. As you guys can generally have a look at here.
How do I spell Jacal?
Jigow.
Kachiga, Kachiga.
Jigow.
That compass rose is a little too fleshy and organic for my tastes.
So fix it.
I don't like fleshy organic things.
You like us?
Your skeleton is my least favorite part of you.
If you think about it, we are just mech suits.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a thing where if you do
I
this,
said that to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
That made me uncomfortable for like a
Do
week.
what?
If you do this, your two arm bones cross each other,
Mhm.
and if you think about it too hard, you can feel it happening.
I'll send you the TikTok.
It's like I might have blocked it out before it happened.
Was your face, and then
So it does not give us some specific tavern names, so we can work one out.
okay.
Do you know when things bending weird ways?
Ooh, can we call it the Blushing Monk?
No,
Such a cute name.
normal. My arm bones cross inside my flesh suit.
If you're talking about, I like the idea of having that unknown or kind of the dive bar kind of place. It probably would be there as well,
Okay.
as I'm thinking on it. So maybe that's someplace where I've either clocked you across the way.
Mm-hmm. Being that you're Gith and I'm Aarakocra, I'm wondering if you and I have this like, oh hey,
Hmm.
you know, whether or not we know each other, we can figure out. But
Sure.
you know, I'm probably a regular at like the Outcasts Tavern.
Okay.
And with it being the two of you, it can be kind of a little bit of a combination of a thing where it is this outcast tavern where it is folks that are not necessarily going to feel welcome at the main taverns of the city, but that it can also make it specifically have grown into a place for mercenaries. So that kind of gives you both a little bit of a,
Yeah.
Okay.
this is a hub for mercenaries.
Cool.
Okay.
I can dig it.
A Merc Bar.
Fun request.
I mean, that's a
It's
terrible
like that
name,
bar
though.
from Deadpool,
Mm-hmm.
where they have like the
The Deadpool.
Deadpool
Deadpool.
on the board. It's like, oh, are you going out for a job? Like that would be cool. I'm sorry.
And additionally, so we can have you two have met there at some point in passing prior to that
Sure.
on entry into the city. That can also be one of the very few taverns that allows horses inside.
They allow horses.
Mercenaries. I mean, they're very attached to their
I'll put a
horses.
bucket.
They have all the infrastructure.
No, I mean like if she goes to the bathroom.
No, yeah, they have all the infrastructure.
It's fine.
Oh, okay.
They've got like a walk up.
It's like one. How many people and how many horses?
Yeah.
She's tavern trained, so
Oh, good. Like I can
she
just
knows to
imagine
go
on,
outside.
I just imagine on the other side or like up next to the bar, there's a half of it that's just like, what is it? No, yeah, kind of stables, but the posts
Yeah, where
that
you,
got her tied her up.
you sit
And
down
there's
and then you
buckets.
tie off your horse next to you.
Yeah.
And then the waiter, when they come over, puts a bucket under the horse and then takes everybody's orders.
There's no meat in that, right?
Did you order off the horse menu?
I feel like maybe I would have maybe crossed your guys' path while you were
Traveling,
Yeah. Because I'm traveling.
especially if you were camping alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to set it up as far as meetings go. Just for when we start out, y'all are going to meet in the tavern at roughly the same time chronologically that y'all meet.
I tell them I know a great tavern that allows horses.
Then y'all will pick up our old man on the way.
You might have to actually pick him up as he is 85.
No. I'm fine.
He's a spry
Okay.
old man, young man.
It's a fantasy world. 85 is
The new 20.
so old still.
Five. Only if he's an elf.
I'm sorry.
If you were a turtle, you would have been dead for 30 years.
Aw.
Or a genasi.
Well, I'm not fine.
But
We'll say 75 if it makes you feel better.
65.
No.
Final offer.
70 or above.
Are you bald?
No.
Ow.
I have a full
Immersion breaking. Immersion breaking.
so I'm planning on having y'all have kind of introductory scenes like we would normally do as far as those meeting times during that first session. If you, between now and next Sunday as a character, are like, this is how I'm entering the story, please text me and I'm happy to work with you on making sure that happens.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay, I think, does anybody have any other questions on the world or any conversations they'd like to have with each other as far as anything? Yeah, I was trying to find a specific word and I lost all of it.
Are we on first name basis or just recognizing each other at our home establishments?
I don't know.
Okay.
Given
I think-
Margar's pose, I think you're in the cruel nickname phase. Like, beak brain or something like that.
I think it would probably depend entirely on how adventurous you are in approaching me, because I don't think that I would have approached you.
Okay. I don't think.
Have you guys gotten drunk together?
No.
No. Dax
It was
isn't
real fast.
the type to go up and strike up conversation.
Mhm.
However, after seeing you a couple times, he's probably just been like, God, these fucking thises or that's.
Right.
And you're probably like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, feel that one.
Yeah. So like at the bar, you sit like one or two over,
Hmm.
drinking quietly, and then
Horse
start
between
complaining.
you.
What?
Horse
Horse
between you. Or the horse goes back to his table. You lock eyes.
Have to be sitting in the horsing section.
Maybe they are.
That's where I feel most
They
comfortable.
don't actually bring
Nobody-
horses, but they like the smell.
Oh, that was
Nobody
my one.
bugs me in the horsing section.
That was my one question. Do you have like a real birdie smell?
No, I think Dax would probably work really hard on not having a bird smell. And
Are you sensitive about being a bird?
no, I just don't think he would throw off a birding smell.
Well, also, if you're hunting people,
Yeah.
then
Very
like,
true.
you don't want to smell it
That's my thought.
I just really wanted a joke of me going, I love birds.
about the smell of bird.
And it's just kind of like burying my face in your feathers.
No, thank you.
It's inappropriate.
If you get uncomfortable, just shake your cup. Or,
Okay. A horse walks up, pulls a feather that's sticking out. I'm like, yeah,
No, I've never.
tough being feathered, and you're like, I get it. Point to your ears or something.
Yeah.
Some like passing moments that we
Right.
had.
Yeah. I don't know that we'd actually like you've had those interactions though where it's like, yeah, I know you. We've talked a couple times. I have no clue what your name is.
And I don't care
We
to.
haven't gotten.
I don't care to
but
ask you your name. I
Right.
don't care to tell you mine.
It's like, oh, it's the
Yeah.
Eric Okra dude.
Like
Yeah.
the kind of friend where you're really comfortable being silent together.
I don't know if we've gotten that. Like just,
No, I mean like
but I get what you're saying.
so you're a regular at a diner and it would be like weird to sit next to a stranger, but it's more comfortable to sit next to this person, even though you've never spoken.
Or like I don't know his name, but I
Yeah.
know I could sit next to him and just like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yep. And then, like, that's all the commitment you have right there.
yeah,
Commitment fulfilled.
I dig it.
Yeah.
It's like either sitting next to him or that handsy goblin.
Well, they already tried once and they saw the axe.
That's why he's a handy goblin now.
Yeah. Only not handsy.
Just one.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have some good stuff to work from. I got 3 intro scenes started out here, so I think that's a good start. I mainly am asking about if there's any other like questions or comments or points of order, because I think this is about where we're going to end the 0 session for the actual recorded portion. No.
So I was looking up in the Tal'Dorei book, and they talk about like make sure your friends are okay with you doing blood magic and blah blah blah, but they don't really talk about how society feels about blood magic. Like, is this something I would keep to myself? I mean, I know how Sean feels about it.
There was a section that talked about that. It's like maybe this is specifically the wizard one, but like it was kept by a specific like cult, or like not a cult, but like a specific group, and then it's slowly kind of filtered out, but it's still like very taboo.
Is it taboo? Okay.
That, yeah, I believe so, and I'll confirm that. But I'm pretty sure it's one of those, like, tapping into the weave is one thing, tapping into a bodily function is another. So people
I'm
are
not
kinda
a
like-
piss wizard.
Take
Those guys are weird.
But like thinking about like how we look at like necromancers and things like that, like it's gonna be on that same kind of tier.
And that's why Dax, if you like, you're like, oh, that's a ranger.
Easier.
Mm-hmm. Less questions.
I guess I kind of look like a rogue then. I don't know. I wear leather armor and I have a rapier, a shield,
That's a rogue.
dagger.
That's a rogue.
The dagger's very
A
pretty.
rogue by any other name.
Would smell as bloody.
It's rogue
As
blood.
sweet. But I was just wondering about that because I couldn't find any. Because like there's religions like the Raven Queen, correct? Like their clerics do blood magic.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if it's like more acceptable from like a religious perspective. So like maybe I wear a holy symbol so I could be like, no guys, it's fine. I'm with the Raven Queen. It's fine. That's why his blood is on the outside now. It's fine.
Yeah, I would say you probably would want a little bit of a cover story.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll confirm that before next week just to make sure that I'm not missing something on my end. But yeah, I'd say generally, or if that's a part of his character, to be open about it. Like,
I'm just totally cool with like wearing like a cloak that has like the Raven Queen symbol on it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm very comfortable if that's what makes it more normal. You know what I mean? Like, because I know in fucking season 1, he walks into a Raven Queen temple and then like walks into just a giant endless pool of blood and like no one seems concerned.
it's just how it works, you know?
It's the fucking cult shit, man.
You know, in some religions, we cook over a hearth and we welcome our family in, and in others, there's a large endless pool of blood in the middle of the room. And that's,
And sometimes that's just Tuesday.
yeah.
Blood sacrifice? Blood sacrifice?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm okay on the crackers.
Just,
Thank you.
they're just like little rats, like hog-tied rats. It's like you can just crush them. Blood sacrifice. Blood sacrifice.
Thank you.
And on that note, I am so excited to get started with this campaign. I didn't realize how much I missed being in this chair until we were getting very close to it, and I'm stoked to DM again. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity. And thank you all for all these ideas and characters. I'm so excited to see how this fleshes out next week. And with that, thank you to our patrons Sparky, Dossivid, Daniel, Rio's mom, Alistair, Rockelman, Eric Fox, Meepo, Dreamlover, Duke Relland, and Taco Arcana. Some of you got a bonus there, and thank you for your past support. And with that, we will come up with the tagline.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Good night, everybody.